Something about your week this week is probably going to feel a little bit like friction. And for you, Aries, that might either be a really enticing challenge or it might be something that kind of just gets you going, okay? Because I feel like the energy for you this week is picking up in some way. So you might have just come out of the last few weeks, potentially the last few months, where things were really slow, okay? Things were taking their time to get to you. You may have had these very long pauses in between things shifting in your life or in between phases of your life. So phases could be significant for you. You could identify with kind of like looking at your life based on these phases or based on like little like sections. Maybe you've sort of like categorized your life into different sections. I'm thinking of like a filing cabinet, and there's obviously all of these different folders, and each folder kind of represents like a different part of your journey so far. And I feel like there might be this energy of having reflected on these different aspects of your journey, especially with the current astrology. And I feel like what the collective has been moving through as an Aries, like there is this initiatory energy that you have. 808 on the time, so eights could be significant. We have the Wheel of Fortune, so something about your week is very divinely timed, but also I want to say there's some kind of element of like fate or destiny that is at play. This is kind of reminding me of like the Wheel of Fortune in like the TV show. It's also reminding me of like a casino, like this idea of things shifting on a dime, things shifting very quickly, unexpectedly. I'm getting like this like snapping motion. I don't know if you are someone who does that a lot, but there's something about things changing and shifting, and it's shifting in your favor. And here's the thing is like sometimes you hear that and you might think like that's such a cliche thing to say, or like that is so annoying to hear, because maybe there have been times where you've gotten these types of messages or you have felt really excited about something or like really open to something, and it's like, oh, it didn't quite like arrive for you in the way that you thought, or something has slowed down. There's been like divine delays, and maybe you don't even think of it as like a divine delay. You're like, this is just pissing me off. I feel like the energy here is kind of like, I feel like I'm speaking to someone who is really straightforward, but at the same time there's like a level of, it's like there's this part of you that I think is very fiery and intuitive. Of course we're talking Aries, but we're also thinking like, where else in your chart do you find yourself kind of in this energy of flow? I would say like there's something about flowing into the week. There's something about, it's almost like you're riding the wave of whatever this shift is, even if you don't know what it is consciously. Like it may not be making itself known to you in the 3D, but it's happening absolutely in the 5D or in the higher realms, the energetic realms. It's kind of like the energy has already primed itself, and now it is kind of having this ignition point with the Knight of Wands. So you might be finding yourself maybe drawn to something this week where you're kind of acting from this more like passionate, in the moment type of place. And maybe that's something that you used to do, but like you've kind of learned how to tame those impulses, or you've learned how to become more patient before you approach something, before you start something new. This could be like a project. Maybe there is like a conversation you want to have with someone. Maybe there's a connection that you're like looking to pour into, but it feels like instead of rushing forward, which is usually that night energy, there's something that's like kind of holding you back a little bit. And we also have the World with the King of Wands. So there could be a King of Wands energy, someone who also has Aries, Leo, or Sag placements, or someone with a lot of this kind of character to them. So this is somebody who is pretty confident in themselves. I think they know themselves really well. This could be someone who has like a position of authority or who is a leader. This could be you. Like maybe you are stepping into this sovereignty within yourself this week, which is kind of following your fire. Like whatever it is that you want to move towards, I feel like the energy is favorable. I do feel like you've completed some kind of cycle in this King of Wands energy. So if this is you, it's like there's something that you have completed in yourself, which could be there's an old phase of yourself, back to that phases kind of like energy. Something about phases I feel like is significant here. And so it's like you've closed something out, and I feel like you've gained your confidence again or your composure, or you've like stepped out of an old way of being. I also feel like this could be indicative of feeling more together in yourself. Like you feel more whole, you feel more centered, you feel more complete in who you are. And maybe now there's less of this feeling of needing to like reach outside of yourself for things, but things are naturally being attracted to you, because I feel like this energy right here is very attractive. It's very magnetic. And you could notice that people are very like attracted to you. People might interact with you more. They might be like smiling at you more, just like looking at you more. King of Wands definitely gives me a little bit of that like kind of the person that's like the center of attention, and that may be you, or it could be somebody else who kind of like catches your eye or you catch their eye. I do feel like there's something about this timing that is, it's almost like things need to fall into place just so for the right conditions for something to begin, or the right conditions for something to be like fully embodied, if that makes sense. It's almost like little like chips are falling into place, but it's such a specific process. And your back of the deck energy is kind of where I was getting a little bit of that friction. So this might be you feeling conflicted about something or someone this week, but it's like I think you know what you want out of a situation, or you know what you want out of something. I feel like you might be noticing that there's friction because you want something so much, because you have such a desire for something, because I feel like there's a lot of desire here with these wands. I feel like there's a lot of action that like wants to be taken, and especially with Aries energy, it's like there's some sort of like drive or ambition towards something, but it's almost like there's a little bit of a blockage, which this could either be internal, like you're feeling unsure, maybe there's some fears that you're brushing up against and it's causing you to second guess yourself. This could also be somebody else in your energy where it's like they want to come towards you, they have a desire for you, but maybe they're afraid of getting hurt or like repeating a past situation with this Three of Swords. This could also be your energy where you're still kind of processing some old residue, but it does feel old. It feels like it's not at the forefront of your mind. It's kind of in the background. It's like getting trickled out over time. So Aries, there's a lot of very, I would say just very fiery, very lit up energy this week. I think you'll notice for sure some things with like the timing of things in your life, and definitely let me know if this resonates with you, and I hope you have an amazing week.